G'day and welcome to Aussivision. I'm Kyriakos, and today I'm here with some members of the Aussivision team from Team Australia. It is Fleur, Emma, and Josh with me today covering Eurovision 2022 in Torino. Now, we'll be talking about semi-final two that just wrapped up not long ago, and what a show it was. Australia was in it, and we got through. Very relieving, but we'll talk about Australia very soon. We're going to run through each qualifier and then touch on some that didn't make it. And let's go through them in order that they were announced. And just before we start, I just want to say and remind everyone that these are just our opinions, and feel free to share yours in the comments section below. Now, first through was Belgium, a bit of a shock qualifier here. Emma, can you start us off? What do you think?
Yeah, look, this was the shock qualifier of the semi-final for me. I was really surprised to hear Belgium's name announced. But having said that, he gave a great vocal performance. You can't argue with that. And I think he would have scored well with the juries. And it really was the only R&B type song in the final. So if you like that kind of music, you're probably going to have thrown some votes Belgium's way. So, good luck to him. And it will certainly add a bit of an extra mix to the grand final, I think, having some extra genres in there.
And Josh, what impressions did Belgium leave with you?
Not a very lasting impression. It was, not one of my favorites. I can see the appeal from other people's perspectives, but it was definitely a shock qualifier to me. But he did it well. He gave good vocals, good performance. So I'm not unhappy about it.
Well, the next one through was the show closer, the Czech Republic. Fleur, what did you think of this performance?
I loved it. And she nailed that note as well. And I was literally cheering for it. Not surprised it got through. I would have been shocked if this didn't make it because it's been pretty good in rehearsals. I think they did all right in the jury. And it was like, let's see. And this is what Austria should have learnt from, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought it had great energy. I love the light display show in their performance. It would have been amazing to have been in the arena and witnessed that in person. I've spoken to the group and they're so down to earth and they were just so nervous. They just want to qualify. So great for them to see the grand final for the Czech Republic. Emma, what are your thoughts on this performance?
Yeah, look, I loved it. It's a favourite of mine, and what a way to close the show. You could just feel the energy coming through your TV screen from this one, and they just did as much of it with the staging as they could. Sometimes these kind of songs are a little bit difficult to stage well and get the vibe of the song across to the viewers at home, but I think they just absolutely nailed it. It was a fantastic performance. I loved it. I want to watch it again, and I'm just so stoked that they went through to the grand final.
Now, the next one through may surprise some people, but it definitely was, I think, is up there with the juries. Azerbaijan got through. Josh, what are your thoughts?
I'm very, very happy. Azerbaijan was one of my top favorites. I think I ranked it the highest in the whole Aussivision team. So I've been rooting for it from day one. I think his vocals were amazing. The performance was great. It was very moody, atmospheric. It fit the vibe with the music video. So I'm super, super happy. He did great.
And Fleur, what did you think?
It wasn't one of my favourites going in. When I say that, out of the male ballads, this was one I probably had Switzerland ranked lower, but for this semi, definitely had it lower. When I watched it, I didn't feel like it connected with the audience. So I'm a little bit surprised it got through because I didn't expect all three male ballads to get through, plus Belgium. But look, I think it was more of a jury song than a televote song. Because I think a couple of the other male ballads probably had better staging that would appeal to the viewer. But I think he must have nailed his jury performance, I think. Because I think that's where he's got most of the votes.
Yeah, you have a good point there, Fleur. Actually, all three male ballads got through, and we were kind of all umming and ahhing for months, thinking that only one or two would get through. So very interesting to see that. And I thought Azerbaijan actually had very epic moments with the stairs and that backlighting. Very, very memorable. The next one that got through was Poland. No big surprise here, actually, with Ochman. Emma, let's go to you.
Yeah, look, I thought this looked absolutely amazing on the screen. His vocals were just absolutely nailed. Really, this one really stood out. It's probably the most epic visual performance of the night, I think. Yeah, I would have been shocked if this didn't get through. And I think this is one where he would have scored equally well with the jury and the televote as well, because the visuals, you know, the rain and the blue light and the dances, everything for me. Some people thought it was too much, but I love it. I really think it really showcased this song beautifully.
And now, Fleur, I know you're a bit of a fan of Poland this year.
Yeah.
Share with us your thoughts.
Well, it is my number one song for the year. Everyone's at the podcast, so you would know that. As Emma said, I think he's done well in the jury. I think he got enough televotes. I think staging-wise, this was definitely one of the top ones for sure. And we know he nailed the jury. I loved it. It all worked because, you know, some of the early performances we had heard, his vocals weren't there or the backing vocals weren't there, but I think it all worked perfectly today. And I'm so glad that it got through. And yeah.
Now the next one through, the next one through was the show opener, Finland and the Rasmus. Maybe, unexpected or maybe expected from some. Josh, what did you think? Shaking your head there.
Not been a fan of this from the beginning. I was a big fan of Rupa Hum from that national final. So I just thought it's just boring rock, not my cup of tea. I thought the performance, his vocals were very off. The staging just wasn't off. It just seemed a bit, I don't know, a bit of a disheveled mess to me. So I don't see the appeal, but hey, it got through. Clap for them.
I have to admit, having watched some of the rehearsals, this was actually vocally and stage-wise one of the best performances that they did. There was some struggle in the rehearsals, but yeah, they managed to pull it off this morning or tonight. Emma, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think it was a good show opener, and it was sort of the only real big rock performance. I suppose you had Achille Lauro, who was slightly different, only rock band of the night. And I think that they may have got some nostalgia vote for those of us old enough to remember the Rasmus in the charts in the early 2000s. There's definitely a lot of love for them. So I think perhaps that would have helped them tonight. But I think they did a reasonable job with the song tonight. It was certainly a good show opener and very entertaining.
Interesting you mentioned San Marino there, that Finland got through over them, but we'll go back and talk about San Marino. And the next country to qualify was Estonia. I'm going to throw it to you, Fleur. What did you think of Stefan's performance?
I loved it. Now, I don't usually go for country, and I wasn't so keen on this song at East Ilau. That won me over. I thought that was a really good performance. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, and I even said to my son, I said, I'll be really sad if this doesn't get through because he thoroughly deserved it. Look, it wasn't the best staging, but it was appealing enough.
Yeah, I think
he got the job done.
Yeah, it was one of my favorites. I'm so glad he got through. I think the staging was all him. Like, he just gave so much energy, so many smiles, and just so much connection with the camera. Very relieved he got through, and well deserved. Next up, that was announced, and finally, for us that were waiting to hear this, Australia got announced, and someone on our Instagram, I think Jason and Melanie Green, said, "Praise be to the Eurovision gods." I think we all felt that. We're all going to talk about this. Let's start off with you, Fleur. What do you think?
Was not surprised it was getting through. For me, it was a matter of when they were going to read it out. And look, if I sound like an arrogant Aussie, so be it. But we know he can perform. You know, some of us were there when he sang at Australia Decides. We know he's got the voice. We knew he was going to bring the staging, and we knew this was going to be a hit with the juries. It was to get that televote, and I think what he had was enough to get him through. I think this has qualified very easily. Maybe, I don't know if it'd be the first, but definitely second, third, or fourth for sure.
And Josh?
Yeah, I can see him having done really well with the juries for sure. Vocally, I mean, you can't fault it. I think the staging, like walking up the stairs, was extremely dramatic. And even that scary moment with whatever went on with that mic stand, I think that maybe enhanced it as well and made it a bit more genuine and in the moment. I was kind of hoping he would have just like kicked the mic stand off the stage dramatically or something, but yeah, he recovered really well. It was great to see. So proud of our country.
I have to admit, my heart skipped a beat when that mic stand wouldn't go up, and he managed to get through that, and then really belt out those notes after that. Emma, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think he absolutely nailed it. It was just a beautiful performance, and I think that would have been close to being the jury winner, maybe definitely in the top 2 or 3. I really don't think we could have asked for anything more. It was just beautiful, dramatic, and what a professional he was just to get on with. I was a little nervous when the mask seemed to have a little bit of difficulty coming off, but he just got on with it, and it was beautiful, and I'm so happy for him and the Australian team.
Yeah, he did a good job. Some people don't know that mask is actually really heavy as well. So he managed to make it all work. I'm going to throw it out there and say he ends up being the jury winner. I'm just saying that right now, but we'll find out after the grand final. Next up, that was announced was Sweden. Now, another not big surprise. We're going to go to you, Josh. What did you think of Cornelius' performance?
Perfection. Vocally was on point, probably the best performance I've seen her do of it. I heard there was a lot of technical issues in the rehearsals, and I didn't notice any issues at all. I think the spinny thing in the background, whatever it is, worked amazingly. The lighting was great, and it made it seem like a very intimate performance, even though it was in that huge stadium. And I think that's something that really appeals to me and probably appealed to a lot of the audience too.
And Emma, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think she did a really good job with this. She connected well with the television viewers, but you could see that she had the audience on side with her as well. You could hear the crowd singing along. It was sort of, wasn't a lot different from her Melfest performance, but it was just ramped up that bit more. And you don't need to do a lot with that song staging-wise, because you want the focus to be on her and the emotions that she's going through and what she's singing about. And I think they absolutely nailed it. And I think this is another one of those songs that would have had equal jury and televote appeal. And I think she would have done very well with both of them.
Yeah, I'll admit I was actually quite nervous with Cornelia's performance because the rehearsals, she's had some bad rehearsals. It wasn't her, it was just some of the stage stuff didn't work out. And then with the jury show, there was like weird, like you could see the cameraman's shadow on her at some stage in the start, and you could see, anyway, I'm so glad that worked out at the end, and it looked quite intimate and well polished. So that's great to see from Sweden. Next up that was announced was Romania. I'm going to throw it to you, Fleur. What did you think of this very epic performance?
He nailed it. It was good. Look, either Romania or Israel were going to get through. It wasn't going to be both. You can't fault the performance, and yeah, you could see it was well rehearsed. You can tell he's a dancer, not someone who learnt to dance for the competition. I'm quite happy to see it there. It's good to see Romania back because we haven't seen them for a couple of years, and you know they were a bit of a powerhouse in qualifying, and I'm so happy for Romania. And given that mess of a qualifying, system, we'll call it that, it worked out well for them. Well done, Romania. I don't know how you did it, but you did it.
And Josh, was this one of your favorites?
Yeah, it was up there. It definitely grew on me as the Eurovision season has gone along. And I think it sort of culminated tonight. Like you could just see the joy and the fun he was having with the song. It was just very infectious. And although he's not, the strongest vocalist, I think it was very competent. And yeah, it was just like a big crowd pleaser. So proud of Romania. And yeah, it's good to see them back in the final where they belong.
And the last one announced, which I think made a lot of us very happy, was Serbia. Emma, what did you think of Serbia's performance?
Amazing. I loved it. I think this was one of those songs that could have gone either way if the staging didn't have enough impact, and it had enough impact. It was fantastic. And just from the moment, just seeing the way that the crowd in the arena got involved with the song, I would have been shocked if this had not gone through. It's just one of those songs, I'll admit, the first time I saw it back when it won the Serbian national final, I went, Serbia, what have you done? But it's just grown on me so much. And once, you know, I loved how they put in some captions that gave you enough of what the song was about to pick that up if you didn't already know. And she nailed the vocals. The performers that she had with her on the stage just really set the whole tone of the performance. And I'm just so pleased that it got through. You know, Eurovision needs, you know, songs like this to, you know, and yeah, it was great. I'm happy.
And Fleur, what did you think?
Oh, loved it. Absolutely loved it. I was a bit nervous because this is such a Vegemite song, and I wasn't sure how the public would go for it. Obviously, it's quite popular in the fandom, but, you know, same thing with Conan Osiris. It's probably the easiest one to compare to. Fandom loved it. We all thought, look, we could be going to Lisbon again. And then it tanked in when it came to Eurovision because the public didn't get it. I'm so happy for Construct that this got through. But yes, as Emma said, was probably the way the staging was done was more, you know, had more of the public in mind with the lyrics coming up. And you could, even though I don't speak a word of Serbian or Latin, you know what's going on. And yeah, well done, Serbia. It's just the staging worked brilliantly for her. And look, I don't think she would have been the last qualifier, but would have definitely have been one of the bottom qualifiers going through.
Yeah, the crowd definitely got into this one. And I've also read that in Italy, it's already hitting the Spotify charts there after the jury show. So it's probably going to do very well around Europe and who knows, maybe even Australia. So unfortunately, some performances didn't make it through, 8 countries, in fact. And we'll just talk about some of them. Now, some very energetic ones, I have to say, didn't get through. Israel, Ireland, and San Marino. First up, let's talk about the dance ones with the good choreography. Well, I thought were actually really good choreography. Israel and Ireland. Anyone have any thoughts on those?
I'm disappointed for Ireland. That's my biggest disappointment. Yeah. I actually did throw a few votes Ireland's way. I thought, you know, she just did the absolute best job that she could do with that song. And I think it's actually a great pop song, you know, particularly if you love your 80s pop like I do. What more could she have done? I wouldn't be surprised if she had finished in 11th when we look at the full results, because that was the one I was most disappointed about.
And Fleur?
Israel.
Yeah.
I thought he nailed it, and he's been so awesome right through this competition, and I was just so gutted that he didn't make it. But as I said earlier, either Israel or Romania were getting through, not both. I think the running order has disadvantaged him big time. He was second, but at the same time, that stood out. Look, we had I think, semi-final 2, the opening songs were a lot better than semi-final 1. Definitely the performances. Anyway, someone was going to miss out. Unfortunately, it was poor old Michael. I think this could have been 11th because he's been slick all week. This was such a good performance. Someone had to miss out, and unfortunately, it was him.
And Josh, what are your thoughts on those two?
Yeah, I think Ireland was absolutely robbed. The biggest glow up from her first performance, like back in the selection days till now, I think it was absolutely amazing. I really thought against all the odds she was going to scrape in like Belarus did with I Like It a few years ago. And I just think she's a victim of being put in semi-final 2. If she was in semi-1, she would have sailed through. And about Israel, I think his sort of sportsmanship and his little thing just when the voting was about to commence, I think that really hurt him. I think that was very unprofessional.
But another country that didn't get through was San Marino. Now, I don't know what else Achille Lauro was able to do. He threw so much at this performance. So much was going on. Maybe that was his undoing. Guys, anyone want to talk about San Marino?
Look, maybe he was disadvantaged by the fact that Italy wasn't voting in that semi-final. I think that may have possibly could have swung things if Italy were in that semi-final. But look, great performance. But ultimately for me, perhaps the song is a pretty weak song, if we're honest, and perhaps it was just too much for some people. Who knows? But it was a very entertaining performance. I still loved it.
It's definitely going to be in Eurovision folklore for a very long time.
Definitely.
Now, the other countries that didn't get through were North Macedonia, Montenegro, Cyprus, Malta, and Georgia. Any quick final thoughts on those?
I have something to say about my girl from Montenegro. Is my second favorite song of the whole year.
Yeah.
I knew, it was going to be a tough road for her to get through, especially in that semi-final too. But I think vocally, she was pretty on point. I only noticed two sort of faltering moments, which in a lot of other songs you wouldn't have noticed. But because hers was so focused on the vocals and herself, you did sort of notice, and maybe that was a bit of a downfall. But I thought it was a really good performance overall.
All right. Well, thank you all for sharing your thoughts in what was a very early morning for all us Aussies that had to wake up at 5 a.m. and 3 a.m., very early starts. And enjoy the rest of the Eurovision week with the grand final, guys, and see you later.